Hello and welcome to Cameron
And Robbie.
in the morning.
I'm Cameron.
And I'm me.
In today's episode, we're interviewing someone who believes in the backside of a horse costume.
And alongside them, their friend who is attempting to help them but failing miserably.
But first, our field correspondent Mott with the weather.
It's cold.
Alright, you are, Mott. It's going to be a scorcher today, so taps off. Next, we got a cooking segment where we're going to be doing an all-new dish that you've never seen before. You ever seen it before?
I've never seen it before. I think it's gonna rock your socks off. Let me tell you, it's the best egg I've had in weeks.
And I know eggs, I cook them. This is good. Oh hi, I didn't see you there. Well, don't be coy, come over. We're making a very special dish today. It's been in my family for generations. We call it the egg. And what that really entails is a really interesting and complicated chemical reaction between the offspring of a chicken and pan. So, come on over and I'll show you what you need. First, we've got our egg. Now you can get any kind of eggs, but I go for Scottish because I am. And also, you need a pan. We've got some oil in there, a little bit of salt. We've prepped it for the meal, you know. You also have me. I'm not required, but I'm recommended. And I have work outside of this job. So, first, we're gonna crack our egg. And safety first. Now, from here on out, you're going to want to just wash the egg slowly. Really, just watch as it becomes more opaque as you go on. And really follow your own intuition here. You know, your egg doesn't have to look like this. It can look a lot different. In my family, we always said easy over. I'm an easy over man, my wife's an easy over man, we all love it. But you can do whatever you want. And really just go around this, so just make sure it doesn't stick. I recommend a good oil. I use sesame. And just let it go. And there we go. Easy and over. And if you don't believe me, it's time for the taste test.
And welcome back to the show. We are joined now by our guests Gertrude and Marge.
Now Marge, you consider yourself to be the back half of a horse costume. Where did this all start?
Well, this all started a few years ago when I decided it was time for me to meet the love of my life. Now, what is more romantic than a horse? And specifically, the two parts of a horse that make up one. So I decided that I would forever remain in the back of the horse costume.
And why is that more important than just finding a partner normally or traditionally?
That's a really good question.
Thank you.
I haven't actually thought about. Okay, I think I personally am in the back end of the horse costume because if I think about my dream man, he definitely have the qualities of the front half of a horse.
Would you consider the front half to be the more confident half then? The more...
I don't know, I just think about soulful eyes and luscious long locks on a horse, and that's my dream man.
So you've had a problem with men's faces in your life. You would rather have been covered up by a horse.
Yeah, that is
So-
big issue.
So, Gertrude, how do you feel about this? How has your friend's obsession with being the backside of a horse affected your relationship with her?
I mean, concerned? You know, you had a life before this where you weren't just so insistent on being the back half of a horse and like doing everything as though you were the back half of a horse, and now it's everything to you, and like, I don't know, like you don't do things like a proper human being anymore. And it's just, you can go back to living and being happy in other ways.
Now, can you straighten this out for me? What are the problems? What is truly holding her back from living like a normal person in a horse costume?
I mean, isn't it quite obvious? She's spending her entire life as the backside of a horse. You can't live a normal life like
We
that.
spend our entire
Method
lives full of
being the
skin.
back half of a horse. It's everything. Anything and everything. Eating hay.
Hay's really good for you. I don't see the problem.
I don't
I
think
see
You're
it
a
is.
vegan.
I don't.
Yeah,
Cows
because
eat
I
hay,
don't
horses
like
eat hay.
hurting animals. But I don't think you are on the same level as those animals. I'm surprised you even talk. At one point you only neighed.
You can't even commit enough to get a proper backside of the horse costume. You're just in a brown hoodie.
No, I just say that's resourcefulness. Obviously, you're working up to the proper back of the half costume.
Do you expect
Well,
the
this
front
is
side of the
going on
horse to have a
for
full
months.
front side of the horse costume?
And
Or
are
would any
you not
man in a
able
brown
to-
hoodie work for you as well?
I do.
Of course she can't afford one. She's not working. She's just being the back half of a horse.
Well, as a friend, is it not your goal to help your friend follow their dreams?
Yes. But I don't think
I
this is the dream I want to help.
I don't think as a friend you should be feeding into self-destructive behaviour. I think Gertrude here is probably doing the smart thing and trying to get Marge help before she goes any further into her delusions.
But what is help?
Not this.
How is
Obviously not this. How is this helping her?
How are we as a society to say that this is unhealthy behaviour?
She's dressed in a horse costume.
She hasn't showered in 6 months.
In the 4 years we've done this show, I have never known you to be this silly.
Now, in the past, many humans lived without showering for their entire lifetimes.
Because they bathed.
Yes, but some of them didn't, and they lived full lives.
I do.
I mean, I don't think they did. I think they died of the cold at like age 23.
Now, she uses the hose.
Every once in a while, in the barn where I live, I'll get.
You live in a
shower.
barn? How are you affording this?
It's rent free. It's just a shack in the woods.
She gets someone
There we
else
go.
to hose her down.
Now, if that
Because
isn't sustainable,
she's not allowed to do that. Because that's too human. And when she brushes her hair, it's only with a horse brush. It's only if someone else does it.
When,
Do you live with horses?
No, the whole point is that I'm trying to find the front half. I don't want a full horse.
But
I
how
just
would
want
you
the half.
how would you find the front half without first consulting the experts?
Because that would mean going into human areas.
have you ever considered getting help for this? This clearly isn't normal.
See,
I mean, not to pass judgment,
in
I
the
understand.
back horse community, we find that very offensive.
There's a
Because
community.
This is our normal.
Yeah.
There's a community.
There is a Reddit group.
Has anyone in this subreddit found the front side of their horse?
I think they will. I think some of the back half need to convert into front halfers, personally, so that we can make more matches. But for now, there's just the back halfers here.
Mm-hmm. And see, this is a full community. There are many people that feel the same way.
This
It's not healthy.
seriously isn't.
It's ruining her life.
You can't go on living like this.
I would like to say I stand with you. Don't take judgment. I myself am an alligator man. But, you know, you could do your
What do you
thing.
mean you're an alligator man?
No, we don't need to get this isn't about
Encourage
me.
This. We came on here not to have this encouraged.
Well, seems you should maybe think about it.
And that's all we have time for in this half. First to the cooking segment, then to the ads, and then we will be back with the rest of the interview. Thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Hello.
I need to ask you a couple questions, just about the current circumstances.
Who are you?
In the area. I'm Mott with Cameron and Robbie in the morning.
Oh, okay.
And we're looking for the front side of a horse costume.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't catch your name. Do you want to just...
I don't have a name. Who are you?
I'm Mott from Cameron and the Robbie in the morning. Now without a Mott.
Okay.
And
Yes.
so I need to ask you some questions about the local fauna in the area and whether you've seen the front half of a horse costume.
Okay. Does it have to be a costume?
You've seen the front half of a horse?
Well, sometimes. Like if it's facing me, I see the front half of a horse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So why do you want the front half of a horse?
Well, for science.
For science. Do you know horses aren't real?
What?
Horses aren't real. I hate to break this to you. That's why they're a costume. I hope that answers your question.
No, I've got more. No,
More?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, do you think horse costumes are sexy? Like, sorry, let me just...
Okay. Hypothetically, what's your address if I need to call 999? Just to get some really nice people to your house to save the horse costumes.
That information's classified.
So do I think horse costumes are sexy?
Yeah.
Why not? Sure.
Okay. Wait, really?
Why not?
Oh.
How do horse costumes make you feel?
Well, I never really thought about it before. I've kind of been on this like self-reflection journey. So
Self-discovery.
yeah, I know it's.
Is that why
it's
you're
really
accosting strangers in the middle of the night?
It's the middle of the morning. It's 9 a.m.
That's fair. Of course, it's 9 a.m.
Anyway, so have you seen anyone in a horse costume just in the general vicinity?
Not yet. I imagine I'll see you in a horse costume at some point. Are you front or back though?
Well, I have to be the front. I'm looking for the front half of a costume. Wait, actually, maybe I should take the front half of a costume. That would be a really good idea.
Who has the back?
I don't know.
Oh.
It's at the studio. Well, anyway, that's all the time we've got right now. I guess I'll just keep on the search. Back to you at the studio, but first, time for the ads.
Hi, I'm Lai, and I'm here today to talk to you about coffee, the concept. We're gonna put this down here, and then we're gonna come over here. See, we've got our lovely mug. Already got coffee in it. You'll have to add your own. It does not come in the mug. Then we're gonna add our kettle, add our hot water. Still classic. Coffee. Stir it. Add what you like. Sugar, spice, milk, some Sprite. Or maybe you're a poor uni student, exhausted from a day's work. In that case, we're gonna take coffee, the concept, the jar. And we're gonna grab our kettle. Then we're gonna just pour it straight into the jar. Then you get a lovely, strong bit of coffee. However, I would not recommend adding anything to this if you want to stay awake.
This is me and Chris's video about me and Chris.
And welcome back to the interview. As you can see, my co-star decided to go get his alligator garb. I'm quite disappointed. But anyway, back to the interview. Marge, what was the inciting moment you decided to become the back of a horse?
Well, that would take us all the way back to a couple of years ago when I was walking through a field alone, as usual, and I saw two horses. Oh no, it was just one horse, wasn't it? Having the time of his or her life, and I realised they were two separate entities that had come together. And I thought that was beautiful, and from then on, I just
It
decided...
doesn't even make sense.
It does. You just
Doesn't.
don't get it.
It doesn't make sense.
How would you know that?
Because I
You
have
have not done any of
visited
this.
this field. I have been taken to this field and seen this horse, and it
We're
is
meant
the
to be
ugliest
neutral
horse
on
I have
this.
ever
You don't
seen.
know that. I get this every day. My family doesn't understand me. Don't understand us. I'm telling you. People like this, they deserve to be free.
We're not
Like the
saying you
horse
can't be
deserves to
free.
be free. Does the horse not deserve to be free?
We're not saying you can't be free. We're saying this is not a normal human behavior.
It's not
You are not an
healthy.
alligator. You are not a horse.
Who dictates that?
Biology dictates that.
Biology is just a thing made up by scientists in order to shackle us down.
Look, do what you want, but do it healthily. Healthily.
And what's more healthy than being an animal?
She hasn't been outside of her horse costume in 6 months.
And yet she's been outside the whole time. How many times do you take me out?
You're an individual man. You can go out when you want.
And you never follow me to the swamp.
She doesn't make money, she doesn't work, she barely talks to anyone anymore, she doesn't bathe properly. It's not healthy behavior. If this was healthy, if she changed, if she had better quality horse costumes, if she didn't only neigh for 1 month until we had to physically have an intervention in which we spoke to her until she would stop neighing, then everything would be fine. But this, no. No.
You intervened.
This is what this is supposed to
I
be.
think it needs to be intervened. She wasn't speaking for a moment.
How did they treat you when they intervened you? How did you feel when you found that your friends could not accept who you
It
were?
was terrible.
Mhm.
You don't know who I am. You don't know who I am anymore.
No, I don't know who you are anymore. Because you used to be wonderful and nice and kind and sweet, and now you insist the most romantic thing you can do is find the front half of a horse costume. A horse costume!
Seems you don't understand.
No, I don't. I really, really don't.
I don't think anyone can really understand. How can you believe wholeheartedly that you're the back of a horse costume? You're wearing it. You can take it off.
If you don't
I
believe
can't take it off.
it never comes off.
I can see the zipper.
Can't take it
We're
off.
working on that. She's
She
working on
blew
that.
it shut.
She blew it shut.
It shut like 3 months ago. It's after another one of our friends tried to unzip it in her sleep.
Have you considered taking her to like a psychiatrist?
Tried! Couldn't get her in the car!
Can you get like a court order or something?
She won't get anywhere near any civilization!
Okay, let's not bring law into this.
What do you mean let's not
big
bring law into this? If she wants to be
Oh,
treated
if you
as
want
a
to bring
horse,
law into this, we can hit the lawyer back up.
I don't think we need to hit the lawyer back up. The lawsuit got settled. They're not gonna sue.
That's the wrong type of lawyer, you bitch.
What do you mean, you bitch? You call me a bitch?
I'm just saying, if you truly cared about this topic, you would not take this stance.
I don't think you're in any position to think about this topic when you're in this condition, Robbie.
What can this condition? This condition?
It's obviously a condition. This is not normal human behavior.
Oh.
At least you don't have it zipped up.
Okay, we can talk about zippers now.
Can we get back to the actual topic at hand?
There's nothing even in the goddamn cup.
You've said enough, wench. Okay, I think this is settled.
No!
I think this
No!
is very much settled.
This is beyond this.
You
is
are
not
clearly
reason.
a bad friend.
I don't think you can have earned your right to call her a bad friend. You're an enabler. You're enabling a hurt person who's come on the show. They came on here for support, and all you're doing is enabling her self-destructive behaviors. She is not a horse. You are not an alligator. You are human beings.
This is not. Oh my god, no! This is not what we meant when we came onto the show. You were supposed to help. This is not.
I didn't know it was gonna end up like this. He hasn't been in the alligator guard in months. He was getting better.
This was already a problem.
It was getting better.
This was already a problem.
It was getting. I thought it was over
It's
with.
not a problem.
It's very clearly a problem.
Very fine.
What do your parents think about this? Marge, what do your parents think about this? What does your family feel? Are your family horses too?
I'm estranged from my family.
Well, obviously.
Think about
They
the
decided-
I'm the only one who's still in communication with her.
Maybe it's time we end it. You know what? I'm calling it. That's all the time we have for
That's
today.
all the
Oh my
time.
god, you can't be serious!
That's all. That's all the time. That's all of it.
Thank you for tuning in to Cameron and Robbie in the morning. Next week we're joined by our fitness.
Expert. He's an expert.
He's an expert. Well, I don't think you're an expert on anything. Next time we're joined by our fitness expert. And he's here to teach you about healthy living and how to eat well whilst at university.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Hello, and welcome back to the final part of today's episode of Mott Investigates, and the final part of the hunt for that front of the horse. Look, I've been given clues to his initial whereabouts. I think it's somewhere around here. I just gotta. Holy shit. Let's get over there. Oh, look at you. I finally found you. Yeah. You look like you get all the ladies, don't you? So, where does a man like me get a horse costume like that? I mean, I can't have one. You're taking them all for yourself? You think you could do that? Well, you've got... Well, I gotta admit, you've got charisma. But, you know... You forgot one thing.